Hi, welcome to today's video and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about this subject, 5 more reasons why you should be retiring sooner than you think. Now, this is a continuation from the first video that I did, I think up here, over here maybe. I always get that wrong, trying to figure out which hand to put up. But the one that I did about 3 reasons why you should retire, well, this is 5 more reasons. You guys really love that video, and so I'm giving you some more ideas about why you should retire sooner than you think. Now, I hope you enjoy the video. If you have any comments, please put them below, and I'm always reading your comments, and I get to them as soon as I can. So let's get to reason number 1. Time. Well, time is something that you can't buy back. That's what we're talking about there. You know, teachers, people who are in these pension plans will say, should I buy back some of my time that I'm eligible to buy back? This is a little bit different. We're talking about time that the things that you're doing throughout your day-to-day life, getting up, going to work, going to these meetings, staying late in the office, in traffic longer than, people are an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours in traffic, commuting back and forth, getting on the train, getting on the subway, going on a streetcar, through the snow, through the rain. It's something that you have to be thinking about. This is time that is so precious to you. Something that I want to share with you right away, so that it's sort of like an overriding theme throughout this video, is the average time in retirement is about 28 years. That's the average. So if you think about from 65 to 28, that's about the average. The average actually retirement is about 62, 63 in Canada. And so people live about 28 years in retirement. So time is very precious. You're working so many years to get to a point where you're going to be able to enjoy and sometimes not enjoy. I don't want to steal the thunder of the other points, but 28 years is not a long time in retirement. So time is something is so precious. When you start to think about your time as being something that you cannot replace, you can't buy back, it's non-negotiable, then you start to see the value in this, and it's something you should be considering. For all the things you all want to do, whether it's goals, whether it's just being around the house more, or just having the freedom to call your own shots when you want to do things, time is really important. So the number one thing that I want to speak to today, and it's an overriding theme, is time. Time is so precious now as we're approaching retirement. 28 years in retirement is not a long time. Okay, number 2, how many of you see your job as really jeopardizing your health? So many people I've talked to, especially after COVID, have really decided that work has now become very stressful. I don't know, maybe it's part of the workforce is not there anymore. They chose early retirement, or they're forced out because of the way the jobs have changed, work has changed, employers have changed their footprint. They don't need a bigger footprint. They can let some people go. Some people can work from home. In fact, going home to work has been actually nervous for some people, created more anxiety for people. Believe it or not, spouses are not used to sharing and spending so much time together. All of a sudden, boom, you're together. I know some of you will say, what is he talking about? But I know a lot of people through the years where the separation that they have throughout the week is actually very healthy for them. And now that they're together, all day in the house, and then after work, it's like you didn't really get any separation from one another. That's kind of creating some anxieties. But the work environment too that people are facing is actually become very stressful. So I'm asking you this question. When you look at your job, I know some people really enjoy their job. I love their job, and there are days that are stressful. But is your job making you unwell? Do you find you have more anxiety, that you have more stress, more workload? The pay hasn't really gone up that much. You may be working extra hours. Even some of you are working overtime and not being paid for it because you're just trying to put in that extra time. It's about your identity, who you are. You've always worked hard. You've always given your best, and you're not going to stop now. So your job actually might be making you unwell, and you need to consider now, is that actually worthwhile to you? Is it worthwhile for you to actually go to work knowing that when you're going to retire, you might need retirement just to recover from those last few years of work that were really stressful? So ask yourself, for those 2 or 3 more years that you were going to work because you thought, well, I'm going to work, I'm not ready, they need my help. but it's making you unwell, you might spend the next 2 or 3 or 4 years just trying to recover from this work. So I'd ask you this question. Start to evaluate, is it worth your health? Is it worth, and especially when you go to retire, you want to hit the ground running and start to do the things you want to do, and your spouse is ready for you, and this work is making you unwell. So reconsider your job if it's making you unwell. The next thing is relationships. Now, this is really hits home, at least it does, I know for me, having my brother who was very ill, nearly died, and a young man, 60 years of age, I want to spend more time with him. In fact, I want to spend more time with my other brother who's younger than me and my mother, and this is really important. Doesn't mean I'm retiring today, but it does make me think about the time that I put in at work. So am I going to work 16-hour days all the time? Am I going to carve out time to start to build relationships with people? So it's not so much about my time in leaving work, it's recognizing the relationships that you have with people who are ahead of you in terms of age, that their time is even more precious to them, and the years that you have available with them is fewer and fewer each year. And so that has to be the hottest commodity that you have in your hand right now, is trying to maintain those precious moments, those relationships with your family and your friends. This has got to be key. I think one of the biggest things about retirement for a lot of people is, when you leave work, you're leaving those relationships, for many people, leaving them behind, and you've got this circle around you that is ready for you in retirement, and you're going to expand those relationships and really cherish those moments. So friendships, spending more time with your friends and family has got to be a really key, important decision about retiring right now, or at least sooner than you had planned. Active retirement. This is really interesting. Look at that the saying below the title, lifespan versus health span. So I said in the beginning of the video that we have about 28 years of retirement on average that people will live in Canada, and how many of those are actually health versus life. So you may hear in my videos I talk about phased retirement income. You'll hear in other videos, you'll hear the go, slow go, and the no-go years. So that's that idea about lifespan versus health span. So your health, hopefully, is going to be very good. You're leaving your work environment, you're still relatively young, energetic, you've got all this money, and you're ready to check off those bucket lists, and you're healthy, and let's go, right? So maybe you've got a decade of fairly decent health. Then you're going to enter in another decade where you start to begin to have some health concerns, and it may not slow you down, but it sure does frighten the hell out of you, doesn't it? And you start thinking about, whoa, life is very precious. Time is very valuable. I got to get going with the things that are really important and start cutting out the things that are not important. When you have medical scares, you start realizing what is really not important in life, and you start actually living life on your terms and the way you want. So your lifespan and your health span are two different things in retirement. You have to keep in mind that those 28 years are not really healthy 28 years. They're going to be probably maybe 5 to 8 years where you're not really in the mood to go and do too many things for too long. You kind of just want to sit still, maybe just take a break. You're going to sleep more, going to eat less. It's not 28 years of active retirement. So get started. I mean, those few years that you're going to retire sooner are going to be so important to you because, man, you want to enjoy the things that you've always been looking forward to do. And then finally, the last one is, well, you're ready to retire. I wanted to put that first, but I thought it should be obvious. Let's leave that one to the end. You've got enough money to retire. You're financially ready to retire. You have no debts. Your surplus cash flow every single year. Your portfolio is going to give you the kind of income that's going to supply you with all your lifestyle needs. You're both in the mindset of we're ready to retire, or one is not. Like, I got to work a couple more years because I need to contribute a little bit more to my pension plan, or I need to contribute a little bit more to the RSP. No, you are ready to go. And how do you know you're ready to go? Is that hopefully you've gotten a financial plan. I'm always banging over the head with get a financial plan, but it's the one biggest piece that can give you the answers, the anxiety will just melt away from you, and you start seeing a financial plan that says, yes, you've got enough money. In fact, here's how much money you're going to be able to use in these go, slow go, and no go years. And in fact, you actually have more than you need, and here's some other things we should be planning for to help your kids or grandchildren or just elevate your retirement plans. Okay, so that was the end of today's video. Thanks for sticking around. I want to ask you, what is holding you back from your retirement? Put your comments below. Let everybody share all this information, because you know what? You're all asking the same questions, and you're all helping each other with the kind of comments you're putting in, and then I'm answering your questions as well. So put your comments below. I want to know what is holding you back from retiring sooner. Well, thanks for sticking around in this video. I really enjoyed giving this material to you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks, and be well.